We are extremely glad to have the chance to present our work. I'm talking right now on behalf of my colleagues, Iole Fontana and Danilo Di Mauro. I'm Daniela Irrera. We are all from the University of Catania, and we are currently working as part of the Working Package 5. And we are here for discussing the main findings on vulnerability and how this vulnerability paradigm has been conceived and applied by civil society organizations and NGOs in the specific Italian case. My colleagues will go deeper into the analysis during the presentation, but I will simply give some ideas on the kind of work we do within the working package, which we co-lead with Surrey University, and also the expectations that we are planning in our research. We focus in this working package. We are currently focusing on a short list of organizations which have been selected as part of the social media debate in the timeline that you can see in the slide, and across a high number of countries, 17 countries, in European countries and elsewhere. We are also using data collected under a working package 7 by Lund University, using the definition as non-state groups of organization, and we are just focusing on those organizations which are non-state ones, but have some very specific features. And we have shaped this questionnaire on this specific definition and on those specific organizations. The questionnaire has been translated into 4 different languages in order to facilitate the gathering of information, and also for facilitating those representatives who are not feeling very comfortable in speaking English. The questionnaire is based on several different sections, and each section aims at deepening various aspects and approaches of these so-called civil society organizations, what they do, the work they do, and particularly their own approach and set of activities in respect to migrants and refugees. And then, of course, the sense is to understand how there are the approaches can vary and differ depending on different countries, of course. As for the Italian case, which is the one which is particularly important and relevant for us, we have also added an additional list of NGOs. They are particularly registered as NGOs. They are medium and small. We also have very small NGOs, which are, however, very, very active at all levels. We have considered those NGOs which are working at national level, but also those ones which have regional offices, and even those ones which are acting at local level in the city of Catania in particular. And all these NGOs are working in the field of assistance to migrants and refugees, in the integration field, and also very more specific activities like providing legal guard to minors, or search and rescue operations, or assistance to people who are rescued and then they are disembarked. And all these NGOs are more or less in partnerships with national and local authorities. So these partnership can vary, can differ depending on their own approach and the kind of activities they do. But still, what we would like to understand is the kind of relations they have been able to establish with authorities, and how this is also producing an impact on very specific policies at all levels. And this is exactly what we will deep in our presentation. So together with my colleagues, we will discuss a little bit more in detail what these Italian organizations are doing doing, and also the kind of impact they are trying to exert on the protection policies and measures which are developed at the EU level, and with in partnership with the Italian regional and local authorities. So this is the list of things that we would like to analyze and deepen much more. So the roles of these organizations and the kind of influence they can exert on multi-level governance of protection, and mainly based on the perception of vulnerability, which is very much a relevant notion, which of course is now part of debates, scholarly debate, policy debate at all levels, but still they are not focusing on very universally recognized definitions. So there are very different definitions and approaches to vulnerability. And the most important thing is that vulnerability needs to be adapted to the current conditions in which these vulnerable categories are living. So what we are stressing is the fact that there is a current perception of vulnerability, which is, of course, applied in terms of those categories which are defined as vulnerable, and the norms and measures which are employed for designing policies and measures and practices for helping those people. And we put that in relation to the identification of new forms of vulnerability, which are going beyond traditional definitions, which is not only due to the pandemic, but also to the way the migration and refugees crisis was developing even before the pandemic. So the main questions are vulnerability for whom and vulnerability by whom. So the most important thing is to understand how categories, norms, and measures are changing and developing. And we will see the peculiarities of the Italian case in this respect. Just to make clear, and many more details will be explained during the presentations, of course, but this is just for highlighting the paradigm we are going to stress more basically is the vulnerability paradigm as it is now expressed by major international and regional organizations. So here in this slide, we focus on the definition provided by the UN General Assembly, which is mainly based on conditions which can produce vulnerability, whereas the EU Council is providing another kind of definition, which is more focused on categories. And we try to analyze this current definition in respect to a new kind of paradigm, which is the one suggested by Migration Compact and the Refugee Compact. And once again, we see the need to change the paradigm or to shape the paradigm accordingly. Trying to understand how vulnerabilities are changing and how the new measures and new practices and norms are needed. So the main questions, once again, are vulnerability as a key goal to be addressed, and the vulnerability as one aspect to take into account. So what we would like to produce in respect to that, and to suggest, particularly in respect to what NGOs are doing and civil society and a variety of non-state actors are doing, is how a bottom-up approach can develop, and how this bottom-up approach can help in producing an adaptation process in the top-down understanding on the vulnerability. And we will analyze this changing paradigm in respect not only to categories and obviously in respect to the rights. So those people and those rights which are associated to those categories, but also the measures and practices which are currently used and how they are developed, and of course the policy fields which are becoming more interdependent, and obviously those actors which are involved. So a variety of actors, including states, intergovernmental organizations, regional organizations, and obviously non-state actors. We thank you for attention, and we look forward to more discussion and feedbacks.